right. I'm excited too.
Sorry, I jumped the gun.
Not at all. I'm so excited. So everyone, welcome back.
Oh. Oops.
Go.
You go.
You go.
Hi everybody, welcome back to Two Chicks and a Horror Flick.
Yes.
I'm Tawny Ray.
And I am Felicia Connor.
I realized that we weren't saying our last names, and I was like, is that weird? We should probably say our last names.
Yeah, I noticed we weren't saying our names at all.
Oh, we weren't?
We said it in the first one, and then the second one we didn't say it at all. And I think I did that purposely because when we said it in the first one, so here's a little behind the scenes for everybody. When we said it in the first one, I was like, I'm Felicia. And then there was like this long pause because you couldn't see me, so you didn't know I was waiting. But We're super excited. You could see that for people who are listening, what we're talking about is this is our very first episode for our new YouTube channel.
Yay! So we can see each other, which I'm like stoked about. I just have such a hard time listening to people, even on the phone, just talking. I can't. It's like you just can't read the body language and the like what people are doing. So I feel like in our episodes before, I would like pause for a long time because I was like, I don't want to interrupt you because I want you to be done saying whatever you were saying, but and then it sounds like I'm spaced out, like I'm like yeah.
And then totally. You know what happens is your pause, so I think, oh shit, I better keep talking because Tawny doesn't have anything to say.
That's so
and then
funny.
You know what my teens told me today, because they're listening to the podcast and they're huge fans. They told me, wow, Mom, you talked a lot in that last episode. Like you didn't let Tawny talk at all. And I'm like, I don't think that's what's happening. I think because there's that pause, I think, oh crap, I need to keep talking so there's not silence. So anyways, this will be awesome.
They thought that in our Hereditary episode?
I think it was one of them. I'd have to ask them for sure, but they were like, I think it was the first one. They're like, Mom, you talked a lot more. You need to let your friend talk. Okay.
That's funny.
Maybe it wasn't Hereditary. I think it was the first one, and I don't even remember. But so this is really cool. So if you like watching your podcasts or whatever on YouTube, we're there for you. And if you are listening to this on our podcast, we're there for you. I've wanted to do this for a long time because my husband only watches YouTube. He's a huge Joe Rogan fan, watches it on YouTube, everything on YouTube, and doesn't do the podcast thing. And I, on the flip side, do a lot of podcasts. So this is cool. I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm excited too. And I just like to be able to look at your face while you're talking. So yeah.
This is nice. And it was nice to get some mascara on and stuff like that.
Me too. It's the first time I put on makeup in probably I don't know, a week or something.
Yes.
I actually got dressed. I put on yoga pants, which is only a tiny step above sweatpants, but at least it's something more than sweatpants.
Yes. I have these shorts on that are like a canvas short, when usually I am in some sweatpants, and behind the scenes again I am barricaded in the closet because everyone's home now. I can't use my usual space because everyone, 3 children and a husband, are home. So the most quiet space is in my closet around all my clothes. So it's fun to be out in the open.
Yeah. Letting it air out your body.
Yes. Oh my gosh. All right. I'm excited. I'm excited for this. I'm excited for the movie we're going to be talking about today.
Me too. And I'm so excited about, listen, I'm going to just go ahead and celebrate this. And Felicia, I'm sure you're excited too. We got a notification that we had 10 downloads, which I'm like,
dude,
your face, I'm like, that's a lot, right? That feels like a lot.
Oh,
is that crazy? Okay, so whatever. It could not be a lot, and I'm still going to celebrate it because I'm like, that's crazy. Who are those people? Who are they? I don't know. My friend Allie, she's one of our first fans. Like you said, your teenagers are fans. Mm-hmm. My friend Allie is our very first fan, I feel on my end of things. She's already listened to the 2 episodes. She went and watched Hereditary just to listen to the episode. So I'm like,
that is So freaking cool.
Yes. Allie downloaded those things for sure. But like who else? It's got to be like 4 other people at least,
Yeah.
right?
My and as far as my teens, only one of them I know downloaded it and was listening.
Oh, okay.
Because they hear it a lot when I'm editing, so they can hear like the music and everything like that when we're doing that. My friend Annette, she posted on Facebook, subscribed, and I was like, yes, I'm getting a lot of good feedback, like this is such a cool idea, and like I'm so happy because we thought it was a cool idea, obviously.
Yeah.
I didn't know, and so we literally, what was it, Wednesday night we kind of put it out there, hey, you can listen to us wherever, on, you listen to your podcast, blah blah blah. And the next morning there was already 10 downloads.
Yeah. That
I
was
thought
great.
that was so cool.
Me too. I was just like, damn. I don't know if that's a lot, but it's a lot, and I'm celebrating.
It's a
So,
lot to me.
cheers to that.
Cheers to 10 downloads, dude. Cheers. Serious cheers. What are you drinking, Tawny?
I got some of that shit that I talked about in our last episode. Was that our last episode? It's called Aberfeldy, and it's like
Yes.
bourbon, is what it is.
Ooh, Aberfeldy, that's right. I was thinking of looking that up. I'm drinking an 805. I'm drinking a beer because last night I came across this. So I like to call myself a connoisseur of dirty martinis and Cosmos. Okay. So I talked about this before. Dirty martinis are my very favorite drink with blue cheese stuffed olives or garlic jalapeno stuffed olives. But I also love Cosmos. And I found this recipe that uses, I'm going to say this wrong, I'm sure, Cointreau. Cointreau?
I don't know how you say it.
But
that sounds right to me.
it was so good with that little tweak that I had 4. So I had a headache. I had a headache this morning. So I'm taking it easy.
That's fair.
All right. We are talking about The Invisible Man. And I'm very excited to hear what you think about it. Just so everybody knows, it's The Invisible Man, released in 2020, February 28th, 2020. And it has Elizabeth Moss, Oliver Jackson. Yep, that's right. Oliver Jackson Cohen, Aldous Hodge, Storm Reed, Harris Dyer, and Michelle Dorman. So that's the one we watched. And I thought there was more of them, like some old school one. That's why.
Yeah.
Okay. I couldn't really find a lot about it, but anyways, that's what we watched. And I will let you start telling me what you thought about that.
Okay. Well, first and foremost, we are going to spoil the shit out of this movie. So,
oh yes, I always forget that. Yeah.
Back out now. No worries. I'm like, I just would hope that people wouldn't click on it unless they've watched the movie, because I don't understand why you would want to spoil stuff for yourself, but whatever. You can live your life if that's how you do it. But if you don't want it spoiled, turn back now. Don't do it. But I did not like this movie. Overall. Did you like it?
I freaking loved it.
Wow. Okay. This will be a good
This will be a good conversation. Yeah, because yeah. Okay.
Okay. I actually okay, wait. Let me first and foremost say you do a really good job of this like research. I was like listening back to our Hereditary episode, and you had done the research for that one too, and you're like, all the actors and shit. I'm just like, I did this movie, and here's like the director. Like, here's what I think about it. So thanks for bringing like a level of professionalism that I did not.
Not at all. It's funny.
But now actually I want you to go first, because I don't want to shit all over this, and because I have like a lot of problems with this movie that I'm going to go through, so I don't want to do it before you say what you liked.
Oh, you might change my mind. No. Okay. So I loved this movie. I loved it. And a lot of people might hate me for loving it. I'll just tell you my reasons why. It may have been that I went in with really, really low expectations. I don't know. Because my daughter's girlfriend said to me, it's terrible. I don't know I think I mentioned it to you, Tawny, actually. I was like, got really bad reviews from my kids. So they made it like, I almost wanted to write you and say, let's not watch this one, because they were like, it was so terrible. It was so boring. It started off good, and then it just absolutely sucked. So I was really expecting to be bored out of my mind. I loved the opening scenes. What, like when he ran up to the car, when she was in the car, I just found myself the whole time screaming, like jumping to my feet and going, run, get over the wall. Like I was so pumped, and I loved how they did those long shots, and I'm staring and my heart's beating and nothing happens, and then another one, and then another one, and then something happened. Like I just was constantly freaked out. I thought Elizabeth Moss did a phenomenal job. I thought she was so good. I just loved. She did a great job. I oh my god, that scene, like, with her sister, and they were in the restaurant and the knife is floating. I just thought there was so many really good scenes, and I was constantly on edge. Like I was constantly nervous about what was going to happen next, which I love like being scared like that. And that my teenagers did say it was so scary, and then it turned sci-fi, and I hate that. And so, but I really, really loved, I don't know, I still liked it even when you realized it was, spoiler, him in that suit, and you can kind of see the suit. I was nervous that that would ruin it for me, but I actually really liked it, because at that point I was like, is anybody looking? Can they see the suit? Can they see who it is? Like I was freaking out. And then the end, I literally jumped to my feet and went, fuck you, hell yeah. Like hell yeah, in your face. Like I was so pumped. So there we go. That's how I felt about it.
That's the overall. Okay. I agree. Elizabeth Moss is the best part of this movie. Like, she is just phenomenal. I cannot deny that. She is a great actress, and she did such a good job all the way through. She's very good at emoting. Like, I also have watched
Yeah.
Handmaid's Tale, and I feel like she in that also she just does a very good job of like telling you what she's thinking in a very subtle way, which is like one of my favorite things in the world
Yeah, she's
when it
good.
comes to acting. But yeah, I'd be curious. Well, let's see. I guess again, I don't want to start shitting all over this
Shit
movie.
on it, girl. If you hated it, if you
I did not hate it. Hate's a strong word. Didn't hate it. I just I didn't hate it and I didn't love it. And it's interesting that you said your kids were like, "Oh, the first part was cool," and then it like I feel the opposite. I feel like the first part was like fucking wacky. Like I was just like, "What is happening here?" And there are so many things that I had a problem with. But then the second half, like when it really started to ramp up, I was like, "Okay, I can be okay with this." Like that was my favorite part. From the moment that the slit the neck at the that
at
was
the
one of the
restaurant,
best scenes for me.
I was like, no, no, she's dreaming. She's dreaming. Like yeah.
Because you're like no, like you just as a viewer that didn't even cross my mind as a possibility, like
Yeah.
so I wasn't even on edge, like I just was like here I am passively watching this scene of them just have a conversation, right, like and I'm just waiting for her to like convince her sister and like no, like immediately slits the throat and I was like oh shit, that was my favorite scene because
I
it was
was,
so unexpected. It was good.
yeah, I love that too. I immediately was like, no, that didn't happen. Did that just happen? She's dreaming. No, oh my God, oh my God. And then her reaction.
Yeah, she was like she sold it. She did
Yeah.
such a good job. And um like again, so like the second half, like once it from that point forward, I feel like it really ramps up and it's like then it starts to become like action packed and there's like, you know, he's like fighting like cops and like people in the wherever she is, mental institution type place or holding facility. I was like, okay, I'm in for this. Like, this part's fun. But the first part felt so slow and so unbelievable. I mean, it was just like there was scene after scene of moments where I was just like, what in the fuck? And actually, I think overall, I know we talked about this in like our first episode. I don't know that I'd consider this a horror movie. This felt to me like a thriller. And so maybe that's blasphemy, but I was like,
No, I don't know. It's listed as a science horror film. I,
yeah. There what did you
so
find? Oh
you
no, go
didn't
ahead.
like, no, I was going to say, you didn't like how she was in the car. She was in the car, and all of a sudden he was there at the window. I was like, fucking drive, fucking, like, I was so into it. And I looked at, because the whole family was, yes, I curse in front of my family sometimes. You know, it's the way I express extreme emotion. Okay. I don't curse at my family in an angry way, but I curse at extreme emotion, because there's being scared and there's being fucking scared, right? There's just this
Yeah.
other level. And I looked at him and I'm like, you guys, if I jump in the car and I tell you to go, you go. Like, my family always teases me, side note, because I always take what the movie is and like relate it into real life. So God forbid there is a movie where the guy's cheating on his wife. I will look at my husband. He'd be like, it's just know that if this was a situation in our life, he's like, I know. But
You're
anyways, like I thought that was great. And then when she, oh my gosh, when he hit that teenager and they thought it was her.
see, this is one of the things that I have a problem with. I was like, they were fucking clear across the room from each other. Like, and I just don't, I just, why as a person in the little girl's view, she's like, been with this woman. Sure, they don't maybe know her that well or whatever, but like, I just feel like she was kind of looking at her. Like she was maybe looking down, but
I think
she
she was
wasn't.
looking down because they were getting up.
They
They
were getting up.
both were getting up. Okay, but as a little girl, would you think, oh shit, that couldn't have been you. That must have been a ghost. I don't think you would.
Maybe not, but okay, here's a follow-up to the
Okay.
thing. But also I have a hard time with it because it's like, how the fuck is she gonna clock you when she's like literally an arm's length away? Like I was like, okay.
Oh, I'd
But
have to
then
rewatch that scene because I feel like they were a little closer, but I could be wrong. I could totally be wrong. Go
yeah,
ahead.
and it's also the same on my end. I could be reimagining them further than they were, but I just felt like, man, what? They were like so far away from each other. And then even after that, the guy's like, okay, we're gonna leave our home. You stay here. Like I was like, what? Like, wouldn't you kick her out? Like, I don't know. Just it was like there was so many like moments like that I was just like, what? And then like when
Yeah.
she goes to like confront her sister and she's like, oh, so that's how you feel about me. And she's like, what email? Like, wouldn't you think that a sister who had to drive to the side of a highway in the middle of the night to pick you up from your abusive situation, if you were like, what email? Don't you think like the next question would be like, wait a minute, you didn't send me that email? Like, but she just like would not accept. Like it just like it was like they were really pushing this like, oh, she could be insane and everybody thinks she might be insane. Like, but I just felt they were like too dedicated to that in the first half. And so it was like as her sister, she's like not having any of it. I don't know. I just didn't buy it. I was like, there was just like a lot of moments that I just didn't buy. Like I was like, what? You know what I mean? I don't get it.
So on the flip side of that, 100% agree with you on the sister. It pissed me off so bad because even if you thought that your sister was crazy,
Wouldn't
then
you?
wouldn't you be a little more caring? Like,
Right.
okay, she had this mental break and wrote me this email, and now she's at my doorstep crying, saying she didn't write it. Like, don't you think you would be less of a really cold bitch and be like, because from the way the movie showed, it wasn't like her sister, she struggled with her sister having some type of a mental disorder her whole life. It's not like it's a constant thing that now she's fed up. It was
Exactly.
literally like she rescued her from an abusive relationship, which she know was horrible because she told them how horrible it was. And now she's obviously struggling mentally. I wouldn't necessarily just believe her. I can understand why they thought she it was imagining these things. I think you and I, maybe because we're open to that stuff, we would be like, oh shit, there's a ghost. But I think like my husband made it very clear that he does not believe he does not believe there's ghosts. He doesn't. So he would think I was absolutely nuts.
Yeah.
But for the guy, so I don't remember how close they were or far. So that's that. But when he was like, yeah, we're going to leave, I saw that though as kind of confirming what you were saying about that little girl, about she knows her. Why would she think she hit her? I felt like he was, instead of just kicking her out in the cold, which would be my reaction if someone, punched my kid, he didn't know what to believe. because she was saying, it's not me, it's him, it's
Okay.
not me, it's him. So he kind of believes it because he knows her, but then his kid is hit. Like, what is he supposed to think? So he was like, all right, when I get back, you need to be out of the house, giving her time because he really doesn't know how to digest what just happened.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess in his view, he's probably like, I don't know where she is gonna go. She's partly here because she doesn't have anywhere else to be. So that's fair. That's a totally fair thing. And let me go back to my list of crazy
Please,
things.
yes.
One of the things that I was like, what in the fuck? We rewound and watched it like 3 times. Okay, first of all, she that right after that scene, and she's in the house alone, and she's like, I think there's somebody here. And she calls the cell phone and it rings up in the attic. She gets up in the attic, finds all of this incriminating evidence and shit, and then fucking leaves it there. And then on top of that, goes to the, like, goes to the, opening in the attic. And she's like, senses that somebody's there and throws a paint can. And I was like, hold the fucking phone. I was like, rewind that. I was like, no, 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 no. First, I have so many problems with this scene as a whole. Like, one, she got up there and she found all that shit and just left it. Totally insane. Wouldn't you take that as evidence? Whatever. Anyway.
Can I
Then,
interject with that one thing?
yeah, go ahead.
I said the same thing to my kids. She goes up there. There's all this stuff. Like, wouldn't you take a picture? So I don't know.
Something
There is a knife in a
in a bag.
plastic bag. She opens the bag and holds the knife like this by the handle. I said to my kids, I was like, okay, now she has her handprints all over this knife that was in a plastic bag. Who on earth would do that? You would pick up the plastic bag, I'm sure, and like look at it, but I'm going to open it. Now I'm going to grip it. Okay, so now this invisible dude can use that to kill anyone, and my fingerprints are all over it. That was
Right.
stupid. Okay, go ahead.
Dumb as hell. So then, and then she's like, oh, I'm not alone here or whatever. Like, I don't remember what triggers that. And then throws a paint can on top of him, which was scary. Like, the scene when he gets hit with it, it was shocking because it's like right there in your face, and it looks kind of creepy because it's like all the little, honeycomb holes. So you're like, it's shocking. But then I'm like, hold up, what the fuck? There's an open paint can in this attic? Like, no. No, no, no. So we rewind it because I'm like I'm like, why is it? It would have dried out by now, probably, unless they just painted the house. Like, it's just logically doesn't make any sense. And we go back and watch to see if there's like a lid, and there's not really one, but maybe there is, but you don't see a lid. And I was like, I guess I can kind of suspend my disbelief in the way that, like, when you put a paint can, this is so deep details, but it really bothered me. It's like when you put it back on, I know you have to like hammer it kind of in. So like maybe there was a lid just on the paint can that didn't get hammered down. Okay, maybe.
And the guy
That
was doing a lot of work on his house. Remember, there was those drop, I forget what they're
right.
called,
Drop cloths. Okay.
drop cloths everywhere and the ladder.
Maybe. But it was just like, what? And then on top of all that, like as if I haven't like suspended my disbelief enough, right after that, he goes to the sink and washes off that motherfucking paint in like 20 seconds. No, paint doesn't come off shit like that. I know because I've dropped paint on stuff. Like, I was just like, what is even happening? Like, it was just like scene after scene after scene like that for me until it got into like the action shit. And then I was like, okay, like, I'm
I
here for
did
this.
think, if he's covered in paint, does the paint just stop dripping that soon off of him? Like, I feel like there would be paint all the way into the kitchen,
Right.
right? Um,
And then he just rinses it off with water. No.
I even thought, wow, he's very, 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 very in tune with her to know that she would call his cell and his cell would be there. Like, why did he put his cell? And then I wonder too, so his cell phone wasn't invisible. So was it just floating around? This is just like
Yeah,
a
I
side
don't know.
note.
Are
Like
there
when he was
pockets?
walking around with that stuff. I have to say though, that
Good point.
scene where the
Just
scene where she left the kitchen and the knife went off,
yes,
that
liked
that
that.
that freaked me out. I like those little
Me too.
things like
Very
that.
subtle. I like subtle. I like subtle,
I like
creepy.
subtle too.
That was good. I liked that part. Let's see, what else do I got here? Oh, the sheet scene. The sheet scene killed me
The
because
sheet scene. Which
the
one was
very
that?
first time that she's like sleeping at their house
Mhm.
and the blankets come off and she's like she yanks them and there's like feet. There's like an imprint of feet. That scene was way too long for me because I'm like she already thinks that maybe like she kind of already is on to something about the like optics thing, you know? And so for her to be like, I'm sorry, maybe there's like a gallon of honey that I accidentally spilled underneath this sheet before it came off the bed. Like I was just like, what in what world are you like? You go to yank this sheet and it doesn't move, and the first or the next thing you do is it you don't like swipe in front of you because you're like, what's there? You know? Like I just
Yeah. Yeah, that's
that
true.
that was so long. She was like, what? Huh? What is this? I don't know. And then it starts walking towards her and she's kind of like,
What's
hmm.
that? Yeah. So the first time she tried to yank it up and it seemed like it was stuck on something. And then she got up. But then, yeah, when there was like those depressions at the base of the sheet and she's pulling it and pulling it. Yeah.
You'd be like, no way. And I liked the way that she freaked out when she eventually did. I felt like it was like, again, she's a really great actress. She totally sold it.
Yeah.
But it was like, I don't know. It was like too slow for me. It was like too slow of a everything. And once we were on, I was like, oh, I'm here for this. Like, it's great. And I also like that scene where she gets into the like shower and she's like, you're not getting this baby, and like stabs herself. But then again, I was like, right after that scene, she's being like dragged around in the hall, and I'm like, she's not bleeding all over. Like I
Okay.
was like,
I said that to my kids too.
wouldn't she have like almost been dead?
Yeah. I looked at them and I said, didn't she stab her arm? Was she pretending to stab it or did she stab it? And they're like, no, she stabbed it. And I'm like, why isn't she covered in blood? She's like in this outfit, like a patient outfit. There's
Yeah,
no blood anywhere. And then later, she has like a bandage in one of the scenes because I'd mentioned it again. I'm like, is she just totally fine with that arm? Like she literally stabbed it in and started to drag it. She's totally fine. There was like this little wrap around her wrist with no blood, just like a little wrap here.
yeah. Definite oversight as
I
far as like
definitely,
continuity goes.
I feel like they got to that scene. They're like, oh crap, she hurt her arm in the last scene. Let's like, let's put a bandage
Yeah.
on it.
Oh well. Like they just called
Yes,
that good. Okay. Well,
I totally agree with you on that one.
yeah, that one was weird. And then okay, let's see what else. What else do I have? I told you I was gonna shit all over this. Um, when she like, okay, maybe I just didn't understand this. In the very beginning, when she is like escaping, she like the dog comes to her and she takes off the collar. What was that about? I was like,
I think that was showing that was a shock collar.
right, but for him to like bark, she doesn't want the dog to bark.
No, I saw it as she was escaping and she was leaving him and she felt bad. And so she at least took the collar off him. I saw it as her husband was like how he was controlling and abusive to both of them, but she
Okay,
wasn't about to bring the dog with her. So she was like, at least let me take this thing off of you.
okay, I guess I could see that. But I was like, then I watched her jump this like 6 foot concrete fence or whatever, and I was like, was she doing that so the dog could escape too? Like that dog's not going anywhere. Like I was like very confused, and maybe I just missed the point on
No,
that.
that's, you know what? My daughter actually said that. She was like, well, the dog is still stuck there. And then he was, when she went back to the house, right? The dog was still there because he couldn't get away. Yeah.
Yeah. But there were moments that I liked. Now that I'm done shitting on this movie, let me go back and say the things that I liked. I did like the cutting of the
The
throat. Love
restaurant
that scene.
scene, that was awesome.
I loved the like fight in the hallway. It was super exciting for me. Like there's like people coming around the corner, like getting like punched and like shot. It was crazy. Like I was just like, oh, I like this. And then of course I like the end. Like it was like again, I talked about this I think in our intro. I like survival movies and like revenge movies. And so when she comes back and really gets his ass, I was like, yeah, I'm in for that. Like I was like, I
Yeah.
liked the last part of the movie. Like I could keep the last like third and ditch the rest of the movie.
I just loved that beginning. Like when he showed up at the window, I screamed
That was
and then
scary.
I was like ready for it. But I agree. I love, love, love that. And I loved how he said surprise. Like he said it in his, so he was telling her that she wasn't crazy in his own way without verbalizing it. And I love how she was like, oh my gosh, in the camera. And then she backed up and then she's like, click,
Yeah.
bitch. That was awesome.
Yes.
I loved it.
And she's got the like thing in the bag and she's like, "You heard it. What it sound like to you?" But I want to hear from you as far as like um what just as a theme, because this is kind of also what you do as a business in a way. Like what were your takeaways as far as like the weird, I mean it's not weird, that's not the right word, but like the domestic abuse piece of this movie. Like, you know what I mean?
Oh, wow, that's a deep question. I thought I thought she did a really phenomenal job showing how how scared she was to go outside, like how even though everyone's like he's not coming after you, she's I mean if you've been controlled that intensely for that long, you would think he was coming after you, which he was. So I thought that was really awesome. And my kids even were like, why can't she just go outside? And I was like, well, if every moment of your life was, you know, you were going to be beat or and you were controlled for years, I mean they don't really say how long it's been, then you would still be in that space. uh so I mean I thought she did a really good job.
Of
Ooh,
acting that.
yeah, of
Yeah.
acting that piece. I thought he did a good job when you finally meet him at the end at the dinner table, where he
Mm-hmm.
was trying to be like, oh I love you, and you can just tell, like you can tell when she goes to the bathroom and he's alone, he's starting to get really like um agitated. And
Mm,
remember, he was kind of staring at the empty seat right before he offs himself.
yeah. That part was great. I also didn't really see that coming either. Like I
Me neither.
thought there was gonna be a because I was like, you know, she gets in there and she's like talking to him and I'm like, she's wearing a wire before they revealed, you know, her cop friend and like listening. I was like, she's definitely wearing a wire and she's gonna get him to admit what he did. And I was like, I was ready for that part of the story, but that's not what happened. And so I was like pleasantly surprised by that. I was like, oh, okay. We took a different,
Yes.
yeah.
I like how they brought back in, because she took that suit and she hid it in that, it was like their closet wall or whatever. So I kept thinking, like, when is that going to come into play? Like, when is she going to go, back for that outfit? I kept thinking, like, when they didn't believe her, I was like, no, you have a suit, you have a suit. Because the cop, I believe, mentioned something like, well, this suit was damaged, so we really can't see what it does. Like, we can't prove that it made him invisible because it was damaged from the gunfire and stuff. And I was like, oh, but she has a suit. But that wasn't
Oh
what they
yeah.
used it for. So,
I forgot about the gunfire entirely. I was like, oh wait, yeah, that was a different scene actually. I mixed up my scenes. But when they also, we totally glossed over this, but when he gets shot and it's his fucking brother in the suit, it did make me be like, oh, hold on. Is it just him? Are there two? Are there two? Or was it just him the whole time? Or is the other guy still alive? Like I was like, it
yeah.
definitely kept me guessing. Like I was like, what? Oh,
And then he was like all tied up in the wall. And like, so it's, oh, yeah.
I did start to be like, oh shit. What I thought this movie was, it is not. Like I thought like, oh, it was his brother. Like his brother was crazy and he like, I don't know, wanted the life that they had or something. Like I was just like really guessing at like, oh, okay, he's coming in and he's going to fake his brother's death and all that. So I liked that. They did a good job of like red
My husband
herrings.
actually he came in and he was like, well, I'm curious, like, was this her and her and his brother setting him up,
Oh
because
shit.
he was really fixated on the fact that when she left the house, she was like all super confident, like a whole new person, right? And she had this suit in her bag, and she was like, and I didn't think so. I got very much that she was fully free now, and she
Yeah.
got back at him. But my husband was like, no, maybe they'll do like a spin-off or something. But it's like he thought maybe she had set the whole thing up. And I said, well, then how do you explain like the like at the mental hospital scene where, like, why would she, you think like she stabbed her arm and everything just to, like, I don't know.
Alone.
Yeah, I couldn't.
Yeah.
But then, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I think he was thinking that that was the brother that time too.
Oh,
Like
okay.
her husband was truly locked up the whole time, and that was the brother and her like putting on this big show. I don't know, but I can tell you a piece of, they did say la la
Yes.
la
Tell me
la.
things.
And I sent this to my husband because I was like, oh, maybe this is why she walked out that way with the suit and left it, like that. That in November 2019 is, and by the way, this is from like the Wikipedia Invisible Man. So I'm not plagiarizing, I'm just letting you know. 2019, it was announced that a spin-off film centered around the female counterpart to Invisible Man was in development. Elizabeth Banks was set to star in, direct, and produce the new adaptation of The Invisible Woman, that was originally in 1940, based on her own original story pitch. So it looks like they're gonna write it, and there's other people that are going to be in it, and it's going to be with Universal. It says a project by Universal Pictures from the roster of Universal Monsters. What is that?
I don't know.
I'm going to find
That
out.
sounds exciting though. I'm in for that.
Universal Classic Monsters is a name given to the horror, fantasy, thriller, and science fiction films made by Universal Pictures during the decades of 1920 through 1950. And they were the first shared universe in the entire movie industry in Hollywood and around the world.
Wow.
I did
That's
not know that.
interesting.
I
Me
didn't know
either.
that. There
Oh.
was not a lot on the movie. It is based off of H.G. Wells' book that was written in 1897. And the development of this movie started back in 2006, and it was released finally this year in 2020. It scored really high. So Rotten Tomatoes was 91%, and then the audience was a B+.
Interesting. Wait, it started in 2006?
Yeah, development started in 2006 with like the writing of the screenplay and all of
Damn,
that.
dude. That's a long fucking time ago.
Yeah.
Did you find anything about the original? Because I know that it is a remake. And
Yeah.
it might even be there might even be two remakes or something. I'm not really 100% sure.
So let me tell you this, and it's a novel. It's a science fiction novel by H.G. Wells in 1897, and there was, okay. I'm just gonna tell you, and you
Tell me
could
that
see.
year again.
1897.
Okay.
Let me tell you this though. There was this so much. So I'm just going to tell you. Okay. In February 2016, the project was revived with, okay, so development of a new The Invisible Man film began as early as 2006, right? And then it started with them writing the screenplay and then very little development. It was revived with Johnny Depp cast as the character, the titular character, and Ed Solomon writing the screenplay. That's what it says, titular.
What does that mean? Do you know what that means?
I don't.
I don't either. Go ahead.
Titular. It reminds me of the word like titillating. Doesn't that mean like?
Yeah, I think it must be it must mean like the most important character or something. I don't know, of the movie.
It was revealed to be a part of an intended cinematic universe featuring Universal Pictures' modern day reboot of their classic monsters. Okay, now it's making sense now
Oh,
that I'm reading it out loud. So
okay.
the whole series was going to involve The Mummy with Tom Cruise,
Check.
followed by The Bride of Frankenstein.
Not check. They did not redo
Into
that, did they?
yeah, um, but an image released in May 2017 of Depp with Cruise, because Cruise was going to be the Mummy, um, Butella and Crow. So these are all people that were going to be in this movie. Um, and I already told you The Mummy. Yeah. The Mummy director stated that fans should expect at least one film per year. However, once The Mummy was released to negative critical reception and box office returns deemed by the studio as insufficient, changes were made to the dark universe to focus on individual stories instead of the universe concept. Okay, reading that out loud, I read it like twice earlier and I'm like, what? I don't even know what to say about this. Like, so but it still doesn't talk about the Invisible Man original movie. It does talk about the revival of the Invisible Woman,
Okay.
which was an old film in 1940.
Okay. Because I did feel like this is a like remake of a movie, and I'm really bad with dates, but I thought it was like maybe the 60s that it was made in. And then there was another movie that I actually looked up because I was like, is this the Invisible Man? But I was thinking of Hollow Man from,
Oh, that's right, with Bacon.
yes, Kevin Bacon. I don't remember what the year
Yes.
was, but that movie scared the shit out of me. I think I watched that when I was like a little tiny kid. Like I remember my grandparents watched it and I just happened to catch it when they were watching it. And there's like crazy scene. I didn't like rewatch it or anything, but I looked up like screenshots of it and there's like, they show like the body, like you can see through. Do you remember this? Did you watch this movie?
I did watch this movie, but I don't remember a lot about it, but I did watch it.
It's like looking at a body that's like skinned. Like I remember seeing like muscles and veins and stuff. Like it, I'm sure it was like cutting edge. And if you watched it now, you'd be like, "Oh, that looks fucking terrible." I'm sure, but because it was all CGI and it was like, but I remember being scared by that. So I was thinking like, "Oh, I think that's the Invisible Man." But I remember being scared by that movie, and it was like tense. Like I feel like this is almost a remake of that movie, but I don't remember exactly how the movie went.
So everyone in the horror universe doesn't hate our guts. There was a movie, The Invisible Man, 1933.
Oh, okay.
American pre-code science fiction horror film directed by James Whale, and it's based on the 1897 book. Um, and yep, I can see the cool little old-fashioned movie poster. Interesting. So yeah, 1933.
Okay. Close. The 60s.
Totally.
Only only
Only
30
30
years.
years off. That's fine.
Oh, you know.
But other than that, there wasn't a whole lot. There wasn't like those cool little, ooh, this happened on the set or this creepy thing or
Okay.
anything like that.
I have a total like almost random but not random side note about this movie because this movie it didn't it reminded me of this other movie in the way of its like theme and stuff. Have you watched the movie Enough with Jennifer Lopez from 2002?
Yes.
I
I don't
fucking
remember a lot of it, but I know I liked it. And oh, with her husband.
yes,
With the,
yes,
yes.
yes,
Oh, that
yes,
was good.
yes. It's such a good movie, dude. I was like, as I was watching The Invisible Man, I could not help but be like, this reminds me a little bit of Enough. And I was just like we finished the movie and I was like, Enough was fucking great though. Like
That was a good movie.
I was like, we should watch that movie. And I made Jade watch it today. We rewatched it today. And so now I'm gonna turn this into a fucking episode review of Enough.
Night. Oh, I haven't seen it since it was released.
You didn't see that coming, did you? No.
No, I did not.
It is so good. Like it really, and I'm sure other people would disagree with me on this because it has like the thermometer score is like 22%. It's like they did
Really? I
people
thought it
did
was really
not.
good.
I did too. I remember watching it as a kid, and I'm sure this movie was formative for me because like it's like everything I like in a movie. Like it's like, it's revenge. it's like she kicks the shit out of her husband. It's great. Like, it's so good. And so I was like, today, I was like, Jade, you got to watch this movie with me. And I made him sit down and watch enough. And J-Lo is a phenomenal actress. Like, it's unfair to everybody else in this movie that they have to do scenes with her because she overshadowed like
That
all
is
of them.
quite the compliment.
God,
It's
she's good.
awesome.
I love her. But
And just to clarify, Tawny doesn't support spousal abuse. Uh, the guy was horrific, and she got back at him.
thank you. Thanks for clearing that up. If you have not seen enough and you can't tell by the title, J-Lo, the wife, has just about a fucking enough of this
Had
guy.
enough.
And but the thing about enough is he does not quit, just like the Invisible Man guy. Like I was like, oh, this guy is not gonna quit. He's not gonna give up on like hunting her. And that's what reminded me of enough. Like he did not ever try to stop finding her and their daughter, because they have like a daughter in the film.
Yeah.
Also, I'm just spoiling the shit out of this movie for you. Sorry. If you haven't seen it, go back and watch it. But it does, parts of it are like weird. Like the script is like a little dated.
In our show notes, do we need to have like, oh, by the way, there's a spoiler alert for enough too? I know that's totally random, but
maybe you'll understand when you watch it.
Just in case.
Yeah. No, this movie though, I'm like, if you've seen it, which I'm just gonna go ahead and bet that you have. As somebody who's probably listening to this podcast, you probably watched enough. Like it's I feel like it was really big and during that time. And she goes and like does like a whole, because he's not going to give up. She doesn't have any options. She's going to have to kick the shit out of her husband, or else he's going to kill her. He's going to kill her, or she's going to kill him. That's like what it comes down to. And so she has enough. She has enough. That's the whole title. And she goes and trains and like throws him way off the scent of her and gets in his house and like, I don't even know what kind of thing she learns, like judo or something, kickboxing. And she motherfucking kills this guy. Like she kills him.
Isn't it? It's been years, but didn't she have like the whole house was like a booby trap? Like no matter where she went, there was something she could use.
So you're mixing two things up. What happened was, because she was on the run, she was like on the lam for like a long time with their daughter, where she had like changed her name and everything, and she had gotten into this house that he finally found her in, and she booby trapped that house.
Oh,
And
gotcha.
so,
Okay.
yes, so when he gets there, she traps him in the house, and fuck it, it's so great because you can see her like setting these traps, and just as a viewer, you're like, I don't know what she's doing, but okay. And then when he gets there, she like, kind of gets him off of her. She has this watch that has like pepper spray in it, right? Pepper sprays his ass in the eyes, gets him off of her, runs out the front of the house, and like it's booby trap. So she like lets off the trap and it locks him in the house. Like it's like a bar that comes down and like locks him in. And then she goes and runs to the car that she doesn't need keys for because it's like a padlock, gets in the car, has a set of keys in the car, puts it in, has her kid change as she's like driving away. There's another guy who's like following them. She like loses him, goes to another place where there's another car where she has like set up like a car with some bags in the back, changes, puts on a wig, takes off, like goes somewhere else. Like I was like, this bitch has plans on plans on plans on plans. Like she is ready for this guy. And so that's why by the end of the movie, you're like, she has no other option. She's tried to run and she cannot run from him. And so that's the booby trapped house. But what happens at the very end is she sneaks into his house and goes and finds like all of the weapons and stuff. Like he has like guns stashed, and she takes those and moves them so that he can't find them, so that he can't shoot her, and like jams the signal. Like she buys like a signal blocker, whatever it is.
Tawny loves this movie.
Oh God, I did. I was like having a ball. I was like, this movie is so fucking good. Sorry.
No, it's awesome. That's totally awesome.
But I was just
good.
like,
It's been so long. I really love characters that make smart decisions. I love that. There's like this thing, they'll make a decision, I'll be like, oh, okay, yeah, I could see that. But if they make a decision, you're like, come on, really? Then it starts to veer down this is stupid. And they has to bring me back, where when they make really smart decisions, I buy into it more.
Me too. And I think that's why I was like, I had like a weird problem with The Invisible Man, because I couldn't watch it and help but think like, I've seen this movie and I've seen it done better with enough. You know what I mean? Like I was just like, she had plans on plans. She was escaping this guy, and then she was like, not today. I've had enough.
I need to go watch enough now, because I remember just a little bit, but it's been years.
Yeah.
Tawny, what are we going to watch next?
That is a very good question. I don't know.
So there's been some things we're throwing around.
Yeah.
Okay, so editing the episodes previous and listening to us say, oh gosh, we got to watch that, and I was like, oh, that's right. So there was the
Antichrist, which you may not rewatch, but would be for me.
I will rewatch it. Antichrist. There's Antrum, the deadliest movie ever. So we were talking about that. I'm like, girls, you want to watch it? And they're like, well, we do, but maybe we shouldn't, just in case. There's oh gosh, there was another one I was thinking. There's so many. Oh, that's right. So that podcast you had me listen to today was super cool. I really liked that. It was called Faculty of Horror.
Yeah, let's give a shout out to them. They're great.
Whew, I didn't even know that existed. Tawny turned me on to it. I love those women. I love, seriously. I wish I would have known who I would be in the future when I was deciding to go to graduate school. I would have went for horror films. I mean, that's just so cool. But anyway, they were talking about my all-time favorite, which is Halloween, and versus the Canadian film Black Christmas, which they deemed the perfect horror movie.
Bold.
Yeah, bold. Bold. It was really fascinating what they were talking about, and I could totally agree. Like they mentioned, this doesn't give anything away, the women in the two different movies, the women in the Canadian version, or in not the Canadian version, I shouldn't say that, it's a whole different movie, but the Dark Christmas, they were very independent, smart, educated, where Halloween version, besides Jamie Lee Curtis, it was so stereotypical. Like they were snarky and kind of stupid. Like, we don't read books, we just like sex and cheerleading,
Okay.
Except Jamie Lee Curtis, who had no social life, liked books. So it was like how they portrayed women in the two different movies they were talking about. It's just such a cool podcast. But so there's that movie too. I was like, oh, I'm curious. So Dark Christmas, Antichrist, Antrum. Ooh. And then a million others. Like there's that Train to Busan I know you told me about watching. I haven't seen yet.
Mm-hmm.
Poltergeist, because you haven't seen Poltergeist. You
Yes.
haven't seen Halloween.
True.
So those are ones we're obviously going to do all of these at some point, but what do we do next?
Should we pick based on, okay, I feel like you've done two that I have watched, so you pick one that you've watched that I haven't seen.
Shoot, because all of those, besides the Dark Christmas, I've seen and I love.
Black Christmas?
I haven't seen Black Christmas. Yeah, I've never even heard of it until today, listening to that podcast. But all the other ones I saw. Halloween is a classic. Like you have to watch Halloween. But the Antichrist, we were really, as is creepy, gross, creepy.
I'm gonna leave it up to you again.
No, Tawny, that's not fair. Maybe we shouldn't decide live.
I picked the first two.
Maybe we should decide live. No, I picked Invisible Man. I did.
You did, but I picked the first two, Hereditary and As Above, So Below.
Oh yeah, that's true. Okay. Yeah, we're gonna have to edit this thinking part out. I'm horrible at making decisions. I shouldn't say that. That's negative self-talk. I just find it very difficult to make decisions on things that I really love, like that. Antichrist is creepy. It's an experience, such an experience. Halloween is my all-time favorite, and I love the Poltergeist movies as well. So
Is
saying,
Poltergeist still on Netflix? I'm gonna look.
oh, you know what? That's a really good point. Look at all of those movies. Let's see which one we could watch for free.
Cheap. Cheap.
So while Tawny's looking that up, if any of those are free, I'm kind of leaning towards Antichrist or Halloween, unless you find Poltergeist is free.
I think Poltergeist is on Netflix.
Okay.
But let me look up the other ones. God, there's been so many Halloween movies.
Yeah, we'd want that first one with Jamie Lee Curtis. Gotta watch the first one. I've liked several of them. And I even liked the random one that didn't even have Michael Myers in it with
Oh
trick or
yeah.
treaters. It was totally like random.
It doesn't look like it's. We'd have to rent it, I think, or I'd have to rent it on.
Okay, what about Antichrist? It's creepy and gross. And guys, listeners, viewers now. We're gonna have viewers.
Yeah, you're right.
We really love feedback. So if you want to engage with us, we have a Facebook group called Two Chicks in a Horror Flick fan page, I think is what I called it, because we're gonna have fans. Like, I am a really positive thinker, so I just throwing that out there. I dream big and I'm positive. So we have a fan page, Two Chicks in a Horror Flick. It's a private group, so that you can interact there. You could tell us your favorite movies. You could watch the movie. So this is something that we want to do, but once we have people in the group, because we just started it, is that you go in there, and if we announce like we're going to watch this movie, you can go on and you could tell like your review, and then we will read your review. We'll give you a shout out on the podcast or on the video. So you could do that. Also, if you just want to tell us like, hey, we want you to dress up in Halloween costumes for one episode, or you should you should watch this movie, it was crazy, or Felicia, you suck that you liked Invisible Man, it was horrible. I mean, be nice, like, because everyone has a different opinion. But if you don't want to be, like, whatever. But so yeah, you can reach us, message us on Instagram and follow us there too, at Two Chicks in a Horror Flick. You can email us at Two Chicks in a Horror Flick at gmail.com. We also have a website, www.twochicksandahorrorflick.com. You guessed it. And then our Facebook page, where we can engage, and we have big plans. We're excited.
I'm super excited for recommendations from people, because I feel like it's hard to sort of know. And I also sometimes feel like, man, I've watched like everything, what else is available to me and what else is a good movie. So I'm totally down for that, especially in our Facebook group. I'm really excited to have more people in there to interact. But the only one that I found that is available for free is Poltergeist.
Okay. I really want to watch Antichrist.
If you want to, let's do it.
Okay, I want you to see it. I really want you to see it. Is it available?
Let's see. I think I can rent it. Yeah, I can rent it on Amazon.
Oh, okay, cool. And is it like a cheap rental?
Yeah, it's like $3, it looks like. So
dude, let's do that.
Yeah, I don't even know why. Why did we go to
I got $3.
Don't know. Sorry, I got $3.
Yeah. No. So we're totally fine renting the movies. Like, I don't know if this is gonna happen. So we're totally fine renting the movies. We just
needed a qualifier.
We just have been renting, and so I thought, okay, maybe I pay for Netflix, so maybe let me use Netflix for once. That's why I went down that path. But we can use Poltergeist next time. Let's do Antichrist, and There's not anyone in my family that's going to want to watch that movie with me.
Oh no.
Well, like my kids will, but I don't know. So my daughter, when she was 2, was watching Jurassic Park and loves Jurassic Park. Like, I'm not super, I mean, I don't let her watch horror movies, but this movie, from the things I remember, it just might be, I don't know.
A little too dark.
I don't want to sit there with my teenagers and watch it, I don't think.
That's fair. That's fair.
I might just watch it alone one night. That's great.
That is great. Sometimes you gotta. Dude, Allie watched Hereditary alone. I texted her and I was like, you might want to wait to watch this with somebody else. Like, I was just like, I would have not been able to watch this movie alone. So, but I don't know. People do it.
You know what? The audience might hate me, but I remember you mentioning like the audience, and then so we're all going to watch this movie together. Let's do Poltergeist.
Okay.
Yeah, let's do Poltergeist. Don't hate me for switching it. We'll watch Antichrist another time. The reason is because, I don't know, I really enjoyed Poltergeist. It's kind of, I think it's a classic. People might be like, that's not a classic. The Antichrist is just so, I don't even know.
We'll save it. We'll save
Okay.
it.
Okay.
I think I put it on our list.
Okay.
On Trello.
It's weird. Like, I'm hesitant to say, okay, everybody go watch Antichrist. Even though me building it up this much is probably people are going to go, I know I would go watch it because I'd be like, what's this movie all about? She's really tripping off of it. But there's just some, yeah. Okay, let's do Poltergeist.
Okay, I'm in for that.
Okay, everybody, we're doing Poltergeist. If you want to watch Antichrist, we are going to be doing that, so feel free. Then it won't be a spoiler alert when you watch or when you hear it next time.
Yeah. Yay. Well, I think that's it. Thank you guys so much for joining us.
This is so cool. Thank you for joining us on YouTube for our very first, YouTube video. Video is super cool. And everyone listening in, thank you so much for, joining us back. Remember, follow us, engage with us. We would love, love, love to engage with you.
Yay. Have a good night, day, weekend, whatever time it is.
Have a good being awake time.
Yes. I don't know ever what to say. Okay.
I know, right? And have a safe, restful sleep. No nightmares.
Have a good one.
I hope you don't.
That's my favorite.
Nightmares.
Have a safe, restful sleep.
No nightmares. Bye.